you have some text, I just want to remind you of some things that you can do with it, and hopefully maybe you'll learn a little bit of something new. When you wrote your text, it became its own layer. You also had a layer down below there that was your background layer. Your background layer might be locked. There may be a little lock over here where you see my arrow pointing right now. If that's true, just give it a double click, then click OK, and it will unlock that layer so that you can put something on it. I'm going to start by, we can just use a paint bucket. The paint bucket is about halfway down your tools. Choose any color over here in the color picker. You can slide this slider to get a different mix of colors. I'm going to choose this teal color, and now you see that I've colored my background. That's one option. Another option would be to make a gradient background. Gradient backgrounds go from one color to another. I can change the color by just clicking this little house looking icon underneath, clicking on the color in the middle, and now I can change this. So let's say I want to use a similar color of blue, kind of a teal color on one side, and let's say on this side I want to use more of a green color. Now you can see my colors go from green to blue. I can also add colors in between, or slide the colors to make it more of one color than the other. I can also remove these, as you see when I pull my mouse away. When you get the colors you want, click OK, and I simply go from one side to another, and you see I get my gradient. Where I cross my tool makes a difference what the gradient looks like. For example, if I go from here to here, notice that the gradient goes from bottom to top. I can make it go from top to bottom, or I can make it just go a little bit, or I can make it stretch the whole canvas. I'm going to keep it at this right now, and then we're going to look at a couple other things to do. There's a trick in here. I can hold the Command key down and give the T a click, and it will automatically select all of my letters. Now that our text is selected, we can come down to this layer. You could delete. What this does, if I turn one of these eyeballs off, which means that we would either hide or show a layer, so I'm going to hide this text layer. You can see that we cut the layers out for you doing that. You may want to add a treatment behind this layer. I may want to add a layer. I may want to bring that layer down below that layer. And I may want to fill this layer with a different color. So I'm going to grab the fill tool. I'm just going to fill that layer with a little bit of black. And I may want to give these layers something called a glow. If I double click that layer, I have different things that I can do. I can put a stroke around these words. I can put an inner shadow. I can make an inner glow or an outer glow. And when I click on these, I can change the color of the glow. Let's say I want this one to be a yellow. I can tell it how much I want that glow to be seen. I can also change the blend to something that is more vibrant. So you can play around with these different glow effects. And you can see this little glow effect just around the edge of my black letters. And so these you can play around with. So now you see I've done some different things to this letter. If I turn this blue back on of my text, I can even take this text and deselect. So Command D is deselect. You see the little marching ants that selected that. And this allows me, if I wanted to move this A just a little bit. Now I've given it a little bit of a different characteristic. This is one option. Here are two other options that you have as well with the same kind of ideas. You could turn this off, add a layer. You could move this layer to the very bottom, take any picture that you might want to find. I've downloaded this picture of some eyes. To import a picture, once you have downloaded it, just drag it from your downloads or your desktop, drop it onto your canvas. You'll notice that this picture now shows its bounding boxes. I'm going to go ahead and make this larger. You really want to make sure that your pictures are large enough for whatever your canvas size is, but for the purposes of this particular exercise, we're just going to make it somewhat close. So you notice here's the eyes in the background, and if I hit the Enter key and place it, now I have a totally different look to my letters. I can also do the same thing that I did before, which is if I don't want this background, I can take this T and do the same thing, hold the Command key down, click my letters, come back down to the eyes layer. I can then go to that select and inverse and select only the back. It's now selecting only the background. And there's one other little step that I need to do, which is there's a this is hard to see on the screen, but there's a little icon in this corner. Because I pulled this picture from the internet, it gets pulled in as what's called a smart object. And if I hover over it, you can see it said smart object when I hover over it. To fix that, all you have to do is hold your Control key down and tell it to rasterize the layer. Once it's rasterized, now that little icon in the corner goes away and I can delete. And if I hide this T, now I have my letters looking different once again. Two more options for treating your letters.